Genesis chapter 40 verse 1. Sometime after this, the cupbearer of the king of Egypt and his baker committed an offense against their lord, the king of Egypt. Okay, so we left off Joseph in the end of chapter 39 with being put there in command of everything in the prison by the warden for the simple reason that God was with him, right? And the warden understood it, and so he put him therefore in command or in control of basically everything, like Potiphar did before him. But now this chapter starts off with the cupbearer and the baker committing some other offense against the king, the lord of Egypt. See, there's the difference between Joseph being in prison and these people being in prison. Joseph did not commit any offense against his master. The reason that he is in prison is because he did not commit an offense against his master. He was not willing to commit an offense against his master. But these two were put in prison because they did commit, or at least one of them did commit an offense, or maybe both of them committed an offense. But the one's offense was seemingly could have been forgiven, while the others not. Okay, so yeah, I remember growing up, I always thought that it's the cupbearer and the baker, because they're like in the people like pouring the wine in, and so maybe one of them put in some poison into either the wine or into the food, and then one of the tasters. But this is to do with the fact that you watch these movies, and old days, the king, we had this person, the person tasting it, and then if he dies, then the king can eat, kind of idea. So you project that onto what happened here. Nowhere in the text does it say that someone tried to poison him, right? They committed an offense. Okay, this is what it's saying. Which kind of offense, we don't know. It could be that they didn't, that they lied to him. It could be that it can be lots of different kinds of offenses. So don't imagine like what you most likely would have heard in Sunday school, as if these guys tried to poison him, and then you now see this poisoning here at work, etc. All right, this is not. Therefore, both of them, not one. It's not a question of the Pharaoh tried to figure out which one, put him in prison while he's trying to figure out which one committed the offense, which one tried to poison him or not, and the one who didn't, he let go. Kind of, that's not how you need to interpret the text here. Okay, because then one of them was there as well for the wrong reasons, like Joseph was. Okay, unrightfully put in prison, and the other one rightfully put in prison, kind of idea. Okay, no, the idea here is that both of them committed offenses. So they were rightfully put in prison for committing offenses. The one will be forgiven, the other one not. Okay, so there would have been different levels of then offenses. Okay. Or maybe the one at the connections, better connections via family members to Pharaoh, or something, that he was ultimately then released. Okay, so please, when we start this, we need to understand that both of them committed offenses against the king of Egypt. In comparison to Joseph, who did not commit an offense against Potiphar, his master, right? So you see two totally different kind of people. The same way Moses was clear about the fact in chapter 37 that the brothers, they are in the wrong, Joseph in the right. The exact same way he's saying here, like in chapter 39 as well. Potiphar's wife is fully in the wrong, Joseph in the right. Like here, the cupbearer and the baker, they are in the wrong, Joseph in the right. Verse 2. And Pharaoh was angry with these two officers, the chief cupbearer and the chief baker, and he put them in the custody in the house of the captain of the guard in the prison where Joseph was confined. Okay, so here in these verses we see that Pharaoh's angry with both of them, not just with one of them, with both of them. So both of them again did something that made Pharaoh put them in prison. Okay, and as God wanted it, unbeknownst to Pharaoh, understandably, is the fact that they were put in prison in the same place where Joseph was in prison, where he was confined. Verse 4. The captain of the guard appointed Joseph to be with them, and he attended them. They continued for some time in custody. Okay, so understandably, as I mentioned in the introduction part, these two people would have been very important role players, bureaucrats, to put it like that. They were not just someone pouring in wine and another one standing in the kitchen baking bread or something like that, right? Again, the same kind of stories we were told as in Sunday school. This is not who they would have been. They would have been as well people like Nehemiah. Nehemiah was a cupbearer. The king would listen, asking for advice. Okay, the same thing here. These people, in other words, were very important, high-ranking officials in Pharaoh's court. So, for that reason, therefore, the warden would want to make sure that they are treated differently. Because they might be forgiven, then they are again back in their very high post that they're in, and then they can make life difficult for the warden if the warden is not going to treat them in the right way. So, understandably here, therefore, the warden is going to make sure that they are treated correctly. And who did he trust the most? Joseph. So therefore he let Joseph take care of them and take care of all their needs. Verse 5. And one night they both dreamed, the cupbearer and the baker of the king of Egypt, who were confined in the prison, each his own dream, and each dream with his own interpretation. Okay, so then so after a while, we don't know how long, they were now already imprisoned. They had a dream, both of them, the same night, right? And as the people there believed in the culture, when you're like leaving the world of the day and you go into the dreaming world, a different world, you get closer to the gods, and now the gods can speak to you. And so dreams were seen as messages by the gods to the people, maybe foretelling their future or something else. Okay, so this is now as well when they dreamed, this is what they would have seen it as. The gods wanting to tell them something. But they have a problem. They're in prison. Where are they going to find someone who can interpret these dreams? So different dreams, every dream is going to have its own interpretation. Verse 6. When Joseph came to them in the morning, he saw that they were troubled. So understandably, the next morning Joseph, the one given care of them, he comes there, and they were troubled because they had these dreams. They don't have anyone to explain to them the dreams, the meaning of the dreams. So what's going on? What's going to happen? It's like, I'm a bit like that. If I know a result of some other rugby match or cricket match or something like that, you know, I'm not a football fan, then don't kill me for that. Then I kind of fast forward to the end because I don't want to be kept in suspense to know the result here, right? I just want to quickly know the result, and then now I can watch it. Or if my team lost, then I don't watch it, right? Kind of idea. Okay, so here they are in the same situation. They have this thing they want to know, and they want to, but there's no way for them knowing. How can they know? There's no way. Right, so they were troubled. Verse 7. So he asked Pharaoh's officers who were with him in custody in his master's house, "Why are your faces downcast today?" So Joseph showing empathy here. He asked him, so why are your faces downcast? Why are you like this? What happened? What happened? Tell me. I'm willing to listen. They said to him, verse 8, they said to him, "We have had dreams, and there's no one to interpret them." And Joseph said to them, "Do not interpretations belong to God? Please tell them to me." So they're like, "Oh, we had these dreams, but there's no one here. Let me see where we are. We are here in the middle of nowhere on this island, at the end of this island. There's no one around here we can interpret this dream, right? We are here in prison. There's no one to interpret this dream. And Joseph said, oh, but just wait a moment here. Anyhow, it's not about who's there or who's not there. These interpretations anyhow belong to God. You know, and God is kind of everywhere. Like, God is here on this island here, this tip of this island. God is here. You can look around at all these things, the rocks here. Who created these rocks? God created these rocks. God is here. God is everywhere. Okay? So the same thing. It's not about the person. It's not about the people. Cupbearer, okay, and baker. This is about God. God is the one who gives interpretations. God is here in prison. You might be looking for someone with the right teaching to be able to give interpretation of this dream. But I'm telling you, you're looking in the wrong place. You need not be so down today, because God is the one. So if you ask God, now yes, God might not give them interpretation. Maybe God is just trying to warn something and not giving them an answer. But I'll get back to that point later on in the conclusion part. Okay, but the explanation for this dream comes from God. So you don't need to be so down. Tell me. Because Joseph is not saying, I will give you interpretation. Right? He's just saying, you can tell me. If God so wants, God might give an interpretation, an answer to their dreams.